Hi girls, for better understanding about negative painting, here is my simple demonstration so uh, you can understand well. On the first layer, we'll make the wash technique or wet on wet, or we need to make the color lighter simply by making more water. So when we put more water, the color becomes lighter. And then after you establish the blending of different colors, time for you to dry using the blower. After you dry the first layer, I drawn a stable leaves pattern. So this would be the number one, the first stage of the and the second stage. Okay? So I'll show you how to do it. First, you need to position your leaves in whatever position you like, and then you trace it. If you notice, the pattern has number. It's all number one, meaning this is the first layer of the leaves. So you can position of your you can place in the position you desire. So in this arrangement, the composition is opposite. I drawn and I trace the pattern so I can consume the upper part space and the lower part space. After the tracing, time for me to mix the color with water. I prefer orange. This orange serve as the negative space color. So I need to scatter this orange that surrounds the leaves. The leaves is the positive, and now I'm scattering orange for the negative space. We need first to scatter the color besides the leaves so we can identify already or leave the subject, which is the leaves, so we can easily see the character of the leaves. And then after you scatter the color that surrounds the positive or the leaves, you need to scatter it with water and do it again on the other leaves upper on the upper part. After you scatter all the negative color on the negative space, so you need to use the dryer or the blower to shorten the process. We will now proceed to the second layer of the negative space. I will use the back side of my pattern, so I number it with number 2, and then I will trace all the negative space using my pattern without touching the leaves on the front. So the one I'm tracing is the group of leaves behind of the first two leaves. We call it as positive. On this negative space, on this second negative space, I use the pattern in other position without touching the leaves on the front. I am done tracing on the second ground. We call it as the middle ground. Now I'm now preparing for a darker color of orange. This time I want to make the orange more darker. That's why I need to mix it with the other neighboring color, the red. So this time I want my color more heavy with body and more sticky. So because I want to make the second uh, the second layer of the lips more visible and obviously seen. That's why I mixed the orange and the neighboring color is red. So I am now applying the second layer negative space on the group of the second lips without touching the first lips. As you can see, I'm trying to apply again the color that surrounds the second group of leaves, but I need to scatter it all over, even the light color that I scattered a while ago. As you scatter this color, maintain the color tone. So we need to maintain that color to be able to identify the second group of leaves on the middle ground. So we are now on the middle ground, meaning the first ground is the first group of leaves, and this second group of leaves is on the second middle ground. After we finish the first ground and the second ground, we call the first ground as the foreground, the lightest leaves, and the middle ground is the second light, darker leaves, and now we are now making the last leaves, the group of background. So we produce already the first ground, the foreground, or the leaves on the lighter leaves. The second ground is the middle ground, the darker orange, and now we are now producing the third ground. We call it as the background. So on the background, we are now tracing again of the empty space of the second and the first layer of the leaves. So avoid without touching the first group and the second group of leaves. I'm now tracing the left space to trace my third group of leaves, the background. So that number one is the foreground, that number two is the middle ground, and the last group of leaves is the background. Now the background of the third leaves need to darken, darker than the second layer. So this time, the orange, I need to make the orange darker. So I partner the orange with red, and I want to partner the orange with violet. So when you partner the red and the violet, of course, it becomes purple or maybe dark violet. And if you mix it, make sure that you are making a darkest color if you want to end the background. So see, now I'm now scattering all the darkest color of the empty space on the background without touching all the leaves. On this stage, be very careful to touch all the leaves because it might ruin your work. So you need to be very careful to touch any leaves. Just touch only the left space on the background. And of course, this color needs to scatter all over on the background without touching any of these leaves. Notice the group of colors. We started with a very light color as the first layer, and we layer on the second layer, and this one, the last group of negative space or negative color, is darker. So we call it as values. Values is lightness and darkness. So in watercolor, of course, if you want to make the color lighter, just add more water. And if you want to make the color darker, add more color without much water. So as you notice, we almost produce 3 layers of